By the time I reached the hotel ballroom, my phone battery sat at 3%. 3 unread messages from Claire waited on the screen. "Where are you? Everyone's already here. Don't embarrass me tonight." I stared at the last one longer than I should have. Rainwater dripped from my jacket onto the marble floor as I stepped inside. The place looked unreal. Crystal lights hung from the ceiling like frozen stars. Men in expensive suits laughed beside champagne towers, while soft piano music floated through the room. And there I was. Cheap black shoes, wrinkled shirt, dark circles under my eyes after 12 hours unloading freight trucks. My hand tightened around the small silver gift bag I had bought during lunch break. $80. 2 extra shifts. That was the cost of pretending I still belonged in Claire's world. A waiter passed by carrying glasses of wine. I almost grabbed one just to stop my hand from shaking. Then I saw her. Claire stood near the center of the ballroom in a dark red dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Her hair rested perfectly over one shoulder. She smiled at something Damien Wolfe whispered into her ear. That smile used to belong to me. Damien noticed me first. "Ethan." His voice carried easily across the room. A few people turned. Claire's smile faded for half a second before she fixed it again. "There you are." She crossed her arms lightly. "You're late. Warehouse ran overtime. You could have changed first." The words landed softly, but they still hit hard. I glanced down at my shirt. Grease stain near the sleeve. Great. Damien stepped closer with that smooth businessman smile he always wore. "No worries, man. Hard work is respectable." Something about the way he said it made me feel smaller, like a charity case. Claire reached for another glass from a passing tray. "You missed dinner. I texted you. You always text. That one stayed between us. Quiet. Sharp." I tried to smile anyway. "Happy engagement party." The words tasted bitter. Not their engagement. At least not officially. Damien's company had just landed some massive real estate contract, and tonight was basically a celebration for rich people pretending not to show off. Still, watching Claire beside him felt wrong in ways I couldn't explain. My fingers brushed the small box hidden inside my jacket pocket. The ring. I had carried it around for 2 weeks. Not because I planned some huge proposal. I just kept waiting for us to feel normal again. For one night where she smiled at me the way she used to. That night never came. Claire checked her phone while I stood there. No eye contact. No touch. Nothing. "Excuse me for a minute," she murmured before walking away with Damien toward another group of guests. And just like that, I was alone. Again, I stood near the back wall, pretending to care about the decorations. A giant ice sculpture reflected blue light across the room. Couples laughed together. Someone bumped into my shoulder without apologizing. My phone buzzed. "Nathan, you survived the rich people yet?" I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I typed back. "Not dead yet." Another message appeared before I could put the phone away. A photo. Claire and Damien. Taken 10 minutes ago. Someone had already uploaded it online. Her hand rested against his chest while he leaned close enough to kiss her. The comments underneath burned worse than the picture. "Power couple. She finally upgraded. They look perfect together." My stomach twisted. Maybe I should have left right then. Maybe that would have saved what little dignity I had left. But I stayed. Because love makes people stupid long after they realize they're losing. An hour later, I found Claire near the balcony doors. Cold night air slipped inside every time they opened. "You've barely talked to me." She kept scrolling through her phone. "I'm hosting people tonight. You haven't even looked at me." That finally got her attention. A tired breath escaped her lips. "Ethan, not now." "When then?" "Please don't do this here." The answer should have stopped me. Instead, weeks of frustration pushed everything forward. "You act different around him." Her jaw tightened immediately. "Damien is helping my career." "That what this is? What's that supposed to mean?" I laughed quietly, but there wasn't anything funny inside me. "I don't know anymore." Music pulsed softly through the ballroom behind us. Claire rubbed her forehead like I was giving her a headache. "You always do this." "Do what?" "This guilt thing. This pressure." She lowered her voice. "Every time something good happens in my life, you act like I'm abandoning you." I stared at her. "That's not true." "Really?" She folded her arms tighter. "You hate these events. You hate my coworkers. You hate every part of the life I'm trying to build. I work 12-hour shifts to support us. And I never asked you to sacrifice everything. Her voice cracked louder than expected. A few nearby guests turned toward us. Claire noticed immediately. Embarrassment flashed across her face. Not concern for me. Embarrassment. You think I wanted this? She pointed toward my clothes. You think I enjoy watching you destroy yourself every day? I'm trying to build a future for us. No, Ethan. Her eyes finally met mine. You're surviving. That's all you ever do. The words punched straight through my chest. People nearby pretended not to listen. Nobody walked away either. I swallowed hard. So that's it. You don't understand what I want anymore. Then help me understand. Claire looked exhausted. Like loving me had become another unpaid bill. I can't keep carrying someone who refuses to grow. The room suddenly felt too warm. What's that supposed to mean? Her silence answered first. Then came the sentence that split my life in half. You've become a burden. Everything inside me stopped. The music, the conversations, the sound of glasses clinking nearby. Gone. Just those 3 words echoing in my head. A burden. Part of me wanted to yell. Another part wanted to beg her to take it back. Instead, I stood there staring at the woman I loved while Damien slowly approached from across the room. Claire noticed him coming. That hurt most of all. She looked relieved. Claire. My voice barely worked anymore. She looked away first. I think you should go home tonight. Home. Funny word. Because deep down, I already knew there wasn't one waiting for me anymore. Damien stopped beside her, calm and polished as ever. Everything okay here? Claire answered before I could. We're done talking. Done. Just like that. I nodded slowly. My fingers pressed against the ring box inside my pocket, so hard the edges hurt. Then I walked out. No dramatic goodbye. No screaming. The rain hit my face the second I stepped outside. Cold. Heavy. Real. The taxi ride home felt endless. Claire never called. Not once. When I unlocked the apartment door, darkness greeted me first. Then silence. The dinner sitting on the kitchen counter had gone cold hours ago. 2 plates. Mine untouched. Her side of the closet stood half empty. Hangers swayed slightly from the air conditioner. And on the kitchen counter beside her spare keys sat a signed apartment release form. Claire Bennett. Neat signature. Clean ending. Only one thing remained behind. A gray sweater folded over the edge of the chair. I picked it up slowly. Her perfume still clung to the fabric. My hand slipped into my jacket pocket and found the ring box again. For a long moment, I just stood there holding both futures at once. The one I wanted, and the one she chose instead. The apartment smelled like cold coffee and dust. 3 days passed before I opened the curtains. Maybe 4. Time stopped feeling real after Claire left. Her sweater still hung over the chair beside the kitchen counter. I couldn't move it. Every time I tried, my hand froze halfway there. Like touching it would make everything final. My phone kept buzzing across the table. Work. Nathan. Unknown numbers. Bills. I ignored all of them. The warehouse manager finally left a voicemail filled with curses and disappointment. You disappear again. Don't bother coming back. I deleted it halfway through. The silence afterward felt worse. I slept on the couch because the bed looked wrong without Claire beside me. One pillow remained untouched every night. I hated myself for noticing that. Morning sunlight hit the framed photo hanging near the TV. Claire and me at the beach 2 summers ago. She wore one of my hoodies while laughing at something I can't even remember now. Back then, I thought struggling together meant we were strong. Now it just felt pathetic. I stood there staring at the picture until anger finally pushed through the numbness. The frame came off the wall harder than I meant. Glass cracked against the kitchen counter. My breathing turned rough. Not because of the broken frame, because even after everything, part of me still wanted to tape the picture back together. My phone lit up again. Another post from Claire. I should have muted her account days ago. Instead, I opened it like an idiot. Rooftop dinner. City lights. Claire smiling beside Damien in a black dress. One hand rested against his chest, while expensive wine sparkled between them. The caption hit harder than the photo. Some people help you survive. Others help you grow. I stared at the screen until it blurred. Then I threw the phone onto the couch. A laugh escaped me. Short, broken, grow. Funny word, because while she posted photos in five-star restaurants, I was calculating whether I could survive another month in this apartment alone. Rent notice sat unopened beside the sink. Electric bill overdue. Fridge nearly empty. But none of that hurt as much as realizing how easy it had become for her to erase me. A hard knock shook the apartment door. I ignored it. Another knock came louder. Ethan, if you're dead in there, I'm stealing your TV. Nathan. Only he could sound annoying and worried at the same time. I unlocked the door halfway. You look terrible. Good to see you too. Nathan stepped inside, carrying a paper bag filled with takeout containers. Jesus Christ. His eyes scanned the apartment. Curtains closed. Dirty dishes stacked in the sink. Broken picture frame still lying on the counter. You trying to become a cave creature? Leave it alone. No. He tossed the food onto the table. Eat something before your organs give up. I'm not hungry. That's depression talking. Depression's an idiot. I almost smiled. Almost. Nathan opened the curtains himself. Bright sunlight flooded the room, so suddenly it hurt my eyes. There. Now your apartment looks slightly less like a murder scene. I sank onto the couch. You done? Not even close. He dropped into the chair across from me. You skipped work for 4 days. I know. You answering anybody? No. Nathan studied me quietly for a moment. Then his expression shifted. Less joking. More serious. She's not coming back, man. The words landed clean and brutal. Maybe that's why I trusted him. No fake comfort. No meaningless hope. I rubbed my face slowly. She called me a burden. Nathan leaned back. That says more about her than you. No, my voice came out rough. Part of me thinks she's right. That because you're broke right now? That because I spent years working myself to death and still couldn't give her the life she wanted? Nathan shook his head. You think money was the problem? What else was it? She stopped respecting you. The apartment went quiet again. Not awkward. Heavy. Because deep down, I already knew. Nathan reached into his jacket and pulled out a folder. I didn't come here just to stop you from dying dramatically. I'm not in the mood. Good. This requires basic brain function. He tossed the folder onto the coffee table. Business plans. Numbers. Warehouse contracts. Delivery routes. I frowned. What is this? Opportunity. Nathan leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees. My cousin's leaving his logistics company. Small operation, but solid clients. We buy now, we build something real. I stared at the papers without touching them. You serious? Dead serious. I don't have money. We take loans. I laughed immediately. That's your brilliant plan? You got a better one? No. Exactly. Nathan pointed toward the apartment around us. You gonna sit here stalking Claire's Instagram for the next 5 years? I'm not stalking. You memorized her captions. That shut me up fast. He wasn't wrong. Nathan softened his tone slightly. You're smarter than this life, Ethan. No. Claire thought that too. My fingers pressed against my forehead. Look how that turned out. She didn't leave because you lack potential. Then why? Nathan hesitated, then shrugged. Some people only love you when you stay small enough to need them. The words stayed with me long after he left. That night, I couldn't sleep again. Rain tapped softly against the windows while the city lights flickered outside. Around midnight, I finally opened Claire's profile one more time. A new video uploaded. Music played softly in the background while she laughed beside friends at some rooftop lounge. I almost closed it. Then I heard my name. The camera moved accidentally while someone nearby spoke. Claire's voice drifted through the speakers. Ethan always talked about changing his life someday. A short laugh followed. He never had the drive to become more. Something inside me went completely still. Not angry, not shattered, just tired. Years of overtime shifts flashed through my head. Cancel classes. Missed birthdays. The promotion I turned down because Claire needed me closer to home. Every sacrifice suddenly looked pathetic. Not because I made them, because I made them for someone who never respected them. I deleted the video immediately. Then I sat there staring at her contact information on my phone. Claire Redheart. My thumb hovered over the screen for almost a minute. Memories hit one after another. Late night grocery runs. her sleeping against my shoulder during movies, promises whispered in dark rooms. I closed my eyes, then pressed delete. The contact disappeared quietly. No dramatic music, no relief, just a blank space where her name used to be. The next morning, I called Nathan. You still serious about the business? A pause, then a low whistle. Well, damn, the corpse speaks. You want an answer or not? I'll pick you up in 20. The bank office smelled like stale coffee and printer ink. Nathan handled most of the talking while I sat there, trying not to panic. Loan agreements covered the desk. Numbers bigger than anything I'd ever signed before. You understand the risks involved? The banker slid the final papers toward me. Failure, debt, possibly losing everything. Funny thing was, I already felt like I had. My hand shook slightly as I picked up the pen. Nathan noticed. You can still back out. I stared at the signature line. Then I thought about Claire's voice. He never had the drive to become more. The pen touched paper. Maybe I wasn't signing business documents. Maybe I was burying the version of myself that kept accepting less than he deserved. The deal closed an hour later. Nathan grinned the entire way outside. We're officially idiots with legal responsibilities. I let out a quiet breath. For the first time in weeks, the air felt different. Not lighter, just possible. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown piece vanished immediately when I saw the message. Claire, the first text since the night she left. I heard you quit your job. What are you doing, Ethan? Move the Denver shipment now, or we lose the contract. Nathan held two phones against his chest while shouting across the warehouse. Workers rushed past us, carrying boxes toward the loading trucks. Someone dropped a pallet near the back wall. Metal crashed against concrete. Nobody stopped moving, including me. 6 months earlier, I barely had enough energy to leave my apartment. Now I was surviving on coffee, stress, and 3 hours of sleep. Funny how heartbreak could either destroy a man or drag him forward by the throat. Ethan, Nathan pointed toward the loading screen. Truck 3's delayed again. I grabbed the radio immediately. Marcus, reroute through Carson Street. Avoid the highway backup. Static crackled. Got it. Nathan smirked beside me. Look at you sounding important. Shut up. No, seriously. It's disgusting. Despite the chaos, a small laugh escaped me. That happened more often lately. Not because life became easy, because it finally felt like mine again. The business nearly died during the first 3 months. Broken contracts, late deliveries, debt collectors calling nonstop. There were nights Nathan and I slept inside the office because we couldn't afford hotels after interstate runs. But we kept going. Somewhere along the way, survival turned into momentum. And momentum changed me. The weight I carried after Claire left slowly disappeared. Not all at once. Piece by piece. I stopped staring at my phone every morning. Stopped rereading old messages. Stopped wondering who she was with. The biggest shock came the night I realized I hadn't checked her social media in almost 2 weeks. Healing didn't arrive like fireworks. It arrived quietly, like breathing without pain after forgetting you were injured. A woman's voice drifted through the office doorway. Please tell me someone here knows what a logo is. Nathan groaned immediately. Oh, good. The artist is here. Maya Brooks stepped inside carrying a camera bag over one shoulder and iced coffee in both hands. Dark curls framed her face while tired eyes scanned the disaster around us. Open boxes. Paperwork everywhere. Nathan pointed at me. He's the emotionally damaged one paying you. Great. Maya handed me a coffee. Those are usually the easiest clients. Comforting, she smiled slightly. Not fake. Not forced. Just calm. Maya worked freelance branding jobs for small businesses around the city. Nathan found her online after deciding our company logo looked like a drunk raccoon designed it. She started coming by almost every day after that. At first, our conversation stayed professional. Marketing ideas, website redesigns, shipping campaigns. But Maya had this quiet way of noticing things without making them uncomfortable, like the dark circles under my eyes, or the fact I skipped meals whenever stress hit too hard. You ate today? I opened my mouth. She raised an eyebrow immediately. Right. Dumb question. Nathan burst out laughing near the printer. She scares me a little. She should. Maya slid a sandwich toward me while opening her laptop. Eat before you pass out dramatically. You always this bossy? Only with stubborn people. I took the sandwich. Didn't argue. That surprised both of us. Late that night, the office finally emptied. Rain tapped softly against the windows while shipment reports glowed across my computer screen. My vision blurred from exhaustion. Your hands are shaking. Maya sat across from me reviewing design drafts. I'm fine. She closed the laptop gently. You know, people usually sleep occasionally. We've got a contract meeting tomorrow. And if you collapse tonight, that'll definitely help. I rubbed my face slowly. Can't slow down now. Why? The question stayed between us. Simple. Dangerous. Because deep down, I knew the answer had nothing to do with business. I was terrified of becoming the version of myself Claire pitted. Maya studied me quietly before reaching across the desk. Her hands rested lightly over mine. Warm. Steady. You don't have to prove your worth every second of the day. The room went still around those words. Not dramatic. Just honest enough to hurt. I stared at her hands for a moment before pulling back carefully. Sorry. For what? I'm still figuring out how to exist again. A soft smile touched her face. Good thing you're doing it one day at a time. Across the city, Claire's life looked perfect online. Luxury dinners, weekend trips, designer dresses. But appearances crack easier when you know where to look. Mutual friends started mentioning things casually. Damien losing his temper at events. Arguments behind closed doors. Claire leaving parties early. One night, Lucas Hart cornered me during a networking event downtown. Haven't seen you in forever. Been busy. No kidding. He glanced at my suit. You clean up nice now. I laughed lightly. You sound shocked. A little. Lucas hesitated, then lowered his voice. Claire talks about you sometimes. My stomach tightened slightly despite myself. Why? She keeps hearing about your company. He shrugged. I don't think she expected this. This? The comeback. I almost hated that word. Made my pain sound entertaining. Lucas checked his phone awkwardly. She's not doing as great as people think. I didn't answer, because part of me still cared. That was the ugly truth nobody talks about. Even after betrayal, love doesn't disappear on command. A week later, Nathan dragged me to a charity gala hosted by one of our new investors. You own one decent suit now. Use it. I hate events like this. Good. Rich people should feel uncomfortable around us. The ballroom lights reflected against giant glass windows overlooking the city skyline. Champagne floated everywhere. Soft jazz played in the background. And then I saw her. Claire stood near the center of the room beside Damien. Silver dress. Hair pinned carefully back. Beautiful enough to stop conversations. Her eyes found me almost instantly. Everything around us faded for one dangerous second. Not because I still belonged to her. Because she wasn't expecting me to walk into that room looking whole. Nathan leaned closer. You okay? Yeah. You sure? I adjusted my jacket calmly. Yeah. Claire kept staring. Not openly. Just enough. Her gaze dropped briefly toward my wrist. The old watch she gave me years ago was gone. A different one rested there now. Small detail. Big meaning. Damien noticed me a few moments later. That polished smile appeared immediately. Ethan, heard business is doing well. We're surviving. Claire finally stepped closer. You look different. The words sounded softer than I remembered. Probably the sleep deprivation. Nathan nearly choked on his drink beside me. Claire smiled faintly at that. The tension between us shifted strangely after that. No screaming. No bitterness. Just unfinished history hanging in the air while people moved around us. Damien placed a hand against her back possessively. The gesture felt intentional. Claire noticed too. Something uncomfortable crossed her face before disappearing again. How's work? She asked quietly. Busy. That's good. You? A pause. Busy too. We both knew the conversation meant nothing. That was the painful part. Two people standing inches apart while pretending they no longer knew each other deeply. Nathan interrupted by dragging me toward another investor across the room. As we walked away, I caught Claire watching me again. This time Damien noticed it too. Hours later, the event finally started winding down. Nathan headed outside to take a call, while I waited near the balcony hallway. Then Claire appeared beside me quietly, close enough for me to smell the same perfume she used to leave on my pillows. You disappeared fast tonight. Networking. You used to hate networking. I used to hate a lot of things. The words landed heavier than intended. Claire folded her arms slowly. You really changed. People do that sometimes. A sad smile touched her lips. You look happy without me. I studied her face carefully then. Not the perfect makeup, not the expensive dress, just the exhaustion hiding underneath everything. And suddenly I understood something. Claire expected anger from me. Pain, bitterness, maybe even desperation. What she couldn't handle was my calm. Because calm meant I was learning how to live beyond her. My voice stayed quiet. I learned how to survive. The storm started just after sunset. Rain slammed against the office windows while thunder rolled across the city like distant explosions. Inside the warehouse office, every light still burned bright. Contracts cover my desk, shipping reports, expansion plans, a second office lease agreement sitting near my laptop. Nathan leaned against the doorway holding 2 coffees. You planning to sleep here again? Probably. You know rich people eventually stop respecting you if you answer emails at 2 in the morning. They already think we're lunatics. Fair. He tossed 1 coffee onto my desk. You hear about Damien yet? I finally looked up. What now? Nathan whistled low. Man's getting cooked publicly. He dropped his phone beside me. An article filled the screen. Real estate investor under investigation for fraudulent partnerships. Damien's photo sat right beneath the headline. My eyes moved lower. Anonymous sources. Financial manipulation. Family connections used for hidden investments. I leaned back slowly. Damn. Apparently some investors are backing out already. Nathan grabbed his jacket from the chair. People smell blood fast when money's involved. Rain rattled harder against the windows. Somewhere deep down, I thought about Claire immediately. Not because I wanted revenge anymore. Because I knew exactly how Damien handled pressure. Control first. Blame second. The office door opened before I could think further. Maya stepped inside, carrying a stack of folders against her chest. You're both still here? Nathan pointed toward me. He's trying to marry this company. Someone has to keep it alive. Maya placed the folders onto my desk carefully. Dark hair, slightly damp from the rain. Tired eyes. Warm smile. Simple things started affecting me more lately. Not dramatic moments. Just peace. Nathan checked his watch. I'm leaving before you two start discussing spreadsheets romantically. Maya threw a pen at him immediately. Get out. The office quieted after he left. Rain became the loudest sound again. Maya noticed the article still glowing on my phone screen. Claire. Probably. You okay? The question came gently. No pressure behind it. That's what made answering harder. I don't know. She nodded slowly like she understood more than I explained. You don't have to hate someone to know they hurt you. I stared at the rain sliding down the windows. That the photographer wisdom of the day? Very expensive wisdom, actually. A small smile tugged at my mouth. Then my phone buzzed. Claire. Again. The messages had become more frequent over the last month. At first, they sounded casual. Questions about old bank documents, apartment paperwork, business congratulations. Then came stranger ones. Are you sleeping enough? Nathan's still forcing you to overwork. I passed that diner you like today. Every message carried the same hidden thing underneath. Regret. I never answered most of them. Tonight's message sat quietly on the screen. Can we talk? Maya glanced toward the phone before stepping back. You should go home eventually. You leaving? Client shoot tomorrow morning. She picked up her bag slowly, then paused near the doorway. Whatever happens with her, don't forget how hard you fought to become this version of yourself. The office felt colder after she left. I stared at Claire's message for almost 10 minutes before replying. Busy tonight. 3 dots appeared instantly. Disappeared. Returned again. Please. The storm grew worse around midnight. Wind howled against the building hard enough to shake the glass. I was halfway through contract revisions when the office door opened again. Claire stood there soaked from the rain, dark coat clinging to her shoulders. Hair damp, eyes exhausted. For a second, the entire room pulled me backward through time. Late night grocery runs. Apartment arguments. Her falling asleep against my chest during thunderstorms. Then reality settled again. What are you doing here? I drove around for an hour before coming inside. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. I stood slowly. You shouldn't be here this late. I know. Neither of us moved closer. Rain hammered the windows behind me while water dripped from her sleeves onto the floor. You look tired, she whispered. So do you. A weak laugh escaped her. Yeah. I pointed toward the chair across from my desk. You can sit. Claire lowered herself carefully, like she wasn't sure she belonged there anymore. Maybe she didn't. The silence between us stretched painfully long. Not empty. Crowded. Too many memories sitting in that room with us. Finally, she spoke. Everything about Damien is falling apart. I stayed quiet. He used my family's connections to close deals behind my back. Her fingers twisted together tightly. There are lawyers involved now. You didn't know? No. Something in her expression cracked slightly. Not pride. Trust. I thought he believed in me. The words almost sounded directed at herself. I leaned against the desk. What do you want from me, Claire? Her eyes lifted slowly. I don't know. That honest answer hurt more than excuses. She glanced around the office quietly. The contracts. The company logo on the wall. The framed business license near the filing cabinet. You built all this. We built it. Nathan told me you barely slept for months. I shrugged lightly. Part of the process. You used to talk about owning something someday. Yeah. And her voice weakened. I made you feel small for dreaming about it. The room went still again. Not because she cried, because she finally understood. I moved behind the desk and opened a drawer searching for a contract folder. Then Claire froze. Her eyes locked onto something inside the drawer. The ring box, still unopened, still hidden exactly where I left it. Her breathing caught immediately. You kept it. I closed the drawer halfway, but not fully. Guess I forgot to throw it away. That's not true. She stood slowly. Rain streaked across the windows behind her while thunder rolled outside. You were going to propose. Not a question. A realization arriving too late. My jaw tightened. Yeah. Claire pressed a hand against her mouth briefly. All those months. All that distance. And somehow I had still planned forever with her. The truth crushed something inside her right there in front of me. I didn't know. You never asked. Tears filled her eyes, but didn't fall. That somehow felt worse. You love me that much? I laughed quietly. Not bitter. Just tired. You already know the answer. Claire stepped closer slowly. Close enough for me to see panic hiding underneath her composure now. Ethan, I made a mistake. The words finally arrived. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just broken. I thought success would fix everything. Her voice trembled softly. I thought if my life looked perfect, I'd finally feel secure. And do you? She looked down immediately. No. Another long pause settled between us. Then her eyes drifted past me toward the corner of the office. A packed suitcase rested beside the wall. Travel tags attached. Business expansion documents stacked neatly on top. Claire stared at it silently. You're leaving? Chicago next week. For how long? Depends how the expansion goes. Something inside her visibly collapsed at that answer. Like reality finally became unavoidable. I wasn't standing still anymore. I wasn't waiting where she left me. The office door opened softly behind her. Maya stepped inside, carrying an umbrella. She stopped after noticing Claire immediately. Oh, nobody spoke. Maya's eyes moved toward me briefly. Not possessive, not angry, just calm. And somehow that calmness changed everything in the room. Claire noticed it too. The way Maya looked at me without judgment, without disappointment, without making me feel unfinished. Claire stepped backward slowly. I should go. Neither of us stopped her. She wiped beneath her eyes quickly before reaching the doorway. Then she turned back one final time. Rain roared outside the building. If I had stayed, her voice nearly disappeared. Would we have made it? The answer should have been easy. Yes. No. Something clean. Instead, my throat locked completely. Because part of me still loved her. And another part remembered exactly what loving her had cost me. The silence stretched too long. Claire understood anyway. Her face crumbled quietly before she nodded once. Then she walked back into the storm alone. The city looked smaller from the office windows now. Or maybe I had finally stopped feeling trapped inside it. Boxes lined the walls while movers carried equipment toward the freight elevator downstairs. Our company logo had already been removed from the front reception wall. Chicago was only the beginning. Nathan wanted expansion into Canada next year. Maya kept talking about international branding projects like they were already guaranteed. Everything moved fast after the Damien scandal exploded publicly. News stations camped outside his office building for days. Investors disappeared overnight. Former business partners suddenly claimed they always had concerns. Funny how quickly powerful people become radioactive once money stops protecting them. Claire vanished from social events soon after. No more rooftop photos. No expensive dinners online. No glamorous captions pretending life was perfect. The silence around her felt louder than all the attention before it. Nathan tossed another folder into a moving box. You realize we're becoming terrifyingly successful. I prefer moderately successful. Wrong answer. He pointed at me dramatically. Confidence, Ethan. Women love confidence. Maya rolled her eyes from across the office. Please stop giving relationship advice. Why? I'm incredible at romance. You got dumped through a birthday text. Nathan pressed a hand against his chest. That information was private. A laugh escaped me before I could stop it. Real laughter. Not the broken kind I used to fake while pretending everything was okay. Nathan noticed immediately. There he is. Boo! The guy who finally stopped looking emotionally haunted. Still emotionally haunted, Maya corrected while sealing another box. Just functioning better. Fair enough. My phone buzzed quietly against the desk. Claire, one message. Can we meet one last time? I stared at the screen longer than necessary. Maya noticed, but didn't ask questions. She never pushed. That mattered more than she probably realized. Nathan grabbed his car keys. I'm leaving before this turns into a dramatic movie scene. You think everything's a movie scene. Because your life keeps acting like one. The office emptied slowly after that. Rain clouds drifted outside the windows, though the storm never came this time. I answered Claire 20 minutes later. Where? Her reply arrived almost immediately. The apartment building. Tonight. The old apartment looked different without us inside it. Half the units stood empty now because of upcoming renovations. Hallway lights flickered softly while distant construction noises echoed from another floor. I arrived just before sunset. Claire already waited near the entrance steps. No designer dress. No perfect makeup. Just jeans, a long gray coat, and tired eyes that looked older than I remembered. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she gave a small smile. You came. Yeah. Wind brushed loose strands of hair across her face. She looked colder somehow. Not physically. Emotionally. Like life had finally stopped cushioning her mistakes. Claire reached into her pocket slowly. The spare apartment key rested in her palm. I kept forgetting to return this. My fingers closed around the metal carefully. Small object. Heavy meaning. You could have mailed it. I know. She glanced toward the building entrance quietly. Feels strange being back here. I followed her gaze. That apartment used to feel huge. Because we kept filling it with plans. The words settled softly between us. Not sharp anymore. Just sad. We walked inside together without discussing it. Dust covered most of the hallway now. The landlord had already removed our old apartment number from the mailbox downstairs. Funny how quickly places erase people after they leave. Claire stopped outside the old door. You still remember the code? Unfortunately, a weak laugh escaped her. I unlocked the apartment slowly. The room sat mostly empty now, except for cleaning supplies and one folding chair near the window. But memories still lived everywhere. Movie nights on the couch. Arguments in the kitchen. Her asleep against my shoulder during thunderstorms. Claire stepped toward the window carefully. You know what hurts most? I stayed near the doorway. What? I really thought I was chasing security. Her arms folded tightly across her chest. But every place after you just felt temporary. Sunlight faded slowly across the room while she spoke. I kept wanting bigger things. Better things. More money. More status. Her voice thinned slightly. And the whole time, you were already trying to build a home around me. Something inside me shifted hearing that. Not victory. Not revenge. Just understanding. Claire turned toward me fully. I didn't realize how safe you made me feel until that safety disappeared. The honesty in her voice felt heavier than tears would have. I leaned against the wall quietly. You loved potential more than peace. A painful smile crossed her face. Yeah. Neither of us rushed to fill the silence afterward. Cars moved faintly outside below us. Somewhere nearby, pipes rattled inside the building walls. Normal sounds. Ordinary sounds. Life continuing whether relationships survived or not. Claire walked toward the kitchen slowly. You used to leave notes here before your night shifts. I almost smiled. You complained about my handwriting constantly. It looked criminal. That small moment nearly broke me more than the dramatic ones. Because this version of us felt familiar, comfortable, and dangerous. Claire noticed the packed moving boxes near the hallway. So it's really happening. Flight leaves tomorrow morning. With Maya and Nathan. She nodded carefully. No jealousy this time. Just quiet acceptance. I think she's good for you. The word surprised me. You barely know her. I know she looks at you like you matter. That hit harder than expected. Claire moved closer slowly. Close enough for me to see tears gathering again, though she kept them controlled. I'm sorry for the way I loved you. My throat tightened slightly, because she finally understood the real damage. It wasn't the breakup. It was making me feel impossible to choose. I spent so long trying to become enough for you, I admitted quietly. At some point, I stopped recognizing myself. Claire lowered her head. I know. I kept waiting for one moment where you'd see me the way I saw you. I wanted to, but you didn't. A tear slipped down her cheek before she brushed it away quickly. I didn't know how. The sunset faded almost completely behind her. For a second, she looked exactly like the woman I used to dream about marrying. And somehow that made letting go easier. Because dreams were all we had left. Claire inhaled slowly. If things were different. I shook my head gently before she could finish. They weren't. That truth settled everything. No anger remained between us anymore. Just consequences. Claire reached into her bag one final time. A small velvet box rested inside her hand. The engagement ring. I stared at it silently. You left it in the office drawer after I visited, she whispered. Maya mailed it to me by accident with some documents. I took the box carefully. Didn't open it. Claire watched my face closely. You should give it to someone someday. The old version of me might have answered differently. Might have held on a false hope. But now I understood some endings existed to save us. I think it already served its purpose. A sad smile touched her lips. You really changed. No, my fingers closed around the ring box. I finally stopped abandoning myself. The tears came harder after that. Not dramatic sobbing. Just quiet heartbreak from two people standing inside the ruins of what could have been. Claire stepped closer suddenly and wrapped her arms around me. I held her too. One last time. Not because we still belonged together. Because goodbye deserved honesty. Her voice trembled near my shoulder. I did love you, Ethan. I know. And I ruined it. I closed my eyes briefly. We both let it break. She pulled away slowly after that. Red eyes. Shaking breath. No more excuses left between us. Claire headed toward the doorway first, then stopped. Promise me something. What? When your life gets even bigger than this, she tried to smile through the pain. Don't shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable again. The apartment suddenly felt very quiet, but not empty anymore. I won't. She nodded once, then walked away. This time, I didn't wait for her to come back. The airport windows glowed gold from the sunrise the next morning. Passengers moved around me carrying coffee cups and luggage while airplanes crossed the brightening sky outside. Nathan slept beside the terminal window with his mouth open. Maya sat next to me reading through travel schedules. You nervous? A little. That's normal. She closed the folder gently. New beginnings usually scare people. Boarding announcements echoed overhead. I pulled out my phone one last time before takeoff. Claire's message thread still sat near the top. Years of conversations. Photos. Arguments. Late-night promises. Tiny pieces of a life that no longer existed. My thumb hovered over the screen, then pressed delete. The chat disappeared instantly. No dramatic breakdown followed. No panic. Just a strange calm settling inside me while sunlight poured through the airplane window. As the plane lifted into the morning sky, the city shrank farther below us. And for the first time in years, the silence no longer hurt me.